Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another fantastic episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. I'm your host, that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching, does it for the passion, never to be famous, fresh off a trip from the city of angels, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide starboy, Remy Blue. But it's not about me. We have a special guest today. That's right, a special guest coming all the way from Oregon, land of that voodoo donut. I definitely can't wait to check it out. She is actually a ring announcer, correspondent, Oregon pro wrestling trainee, and the baddest bud tender in the Weedlands. Everybody, welcome to the show, SBK Stevie Bae Knox. Stevie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. That was great. That was a good job. No one ever introduces me like that. So that was pretty dope. Thank you.
Yeah, I told you it's a little bit of Howard Finkel, Road Dog, Jesse James, and I just breathe in, breathe out, and just yell as much as I can. Hope I sound great. So
Oh, yeah,
I try.
absolutely. You could totally do a little thing.
Yeah. So I just gotta say it's a pleasure to finally have you on here. We've seen that you followed us, and actually seen you on our we saw you followed us on Instagram, and so like we checked you out. We were like, wait a minute, oh, she's with Oregon Pro Wrestling, the same place that the
Yeah.
Federation's coming from, and King Naja and Amira. Yeah, we gotta have her on. We got nothing but love for those y'all up there in Oregon Pro Wrestling. Shout out to the gang up there. Y'all are definitely doing a lot of impressive things, and churning out a lot of impressive students and so on. So
Absolutely. I love all of them so much. Like, I learn so many different things from them. Like, all the trainees, all the guest mentor coaches, everybody is fantastic there.
yeah, hopefully one day I don't know if y'all do student showcase, but if y'all do, I definitely wouldn't mind taking a trip over there to PDX and checking out a show. See how y'all get down or whatnot. Because I can tell you right now, after this West Coast trip I just did,
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with. I'm even more impressed with the West Coast wrestling scene. Y'all are larger than life over there, and it's just I don't know. It's just something about y'all, like, and this is no slight towards the other wrestling scenes like Texas and even over here in New York, but just something about y'all that make y'all so different and so enjoyable. I don't know what it is, but I had a great time when I was over there in LA.
Yeah, I was living vicariously through all the homies that were posting, whether it was like people that were working or people that I'm friends with because of like fan stuff. I was just like, whoa. WrestleMania weekend is like the one weekend where it's literally like a family reunion and it's beautiful.
I don't even call it WrestleMania weekend anymore. I call it WrestleMania week because there's so much to do during that period of time. So I no longer call it WrestleMania weekend. I call it WrestleMania week now because there's just so much to do. And I was even thoroughly surprised because I remember it was the Dark Arts Las Vegas show,
Yeah.
and I'm talking to Crystal White, and lo and behold, who's like, "Hey, dude, you remember me? Referee Bradley." I'm like,
Yeah.
and it hit me for a split second. I'm like, "Yo, Bradley, yo, what's good?" I think I had you on my show. Thanks for doing that. And then I saw like Amira, she was there. She was at the Pandemonium Pro show. Ever so
Yeah.
impressed always. It was definitely an honor to actually see them there. And yeah, man, I'm thoroughly impressed with y'all, and we're looking forward to your debut, man. SBK, making her debut. You know,
Yeah.
Ask
See,
taking names.
the thing about it is with me, I may not necessarily come in the capacity that you may want me to.
Okay,
I'm I'm more of what you would call like a manager type of
okay,
personality,
okay.
you know.
That's cool too. We had a lot wrestlers. I had a lot of great managers. Jimmy Hart, Bobby the Brain Heenan. You know, um, I guess you could put Sensational Sherry in that category, although she was a wrestler before she became a manager. So yeah, I mean, yeah, managers could do their thing too. And besides, y'all are very important because you know why? You know, when the y'all are pretty much the mouthpiece for the wrestlers too when they can't speak. And you know,
Yeah,
there's some wrestlers out there. I'm not gonna call names, but they're not necessarily that good on the mic, so they need that extra oomph, you know, to put them over.
exactly. And honestly, like that's I always knew that I want like be when I started to know that I wanted to be involved with wrestling, I knew that I wanted to either ring announce or manage or something. And it so happened that both opportunities to learn how to do both of those things fell into my lap at around the same time.
Awesome. So with that being said, I just got to ask you, how did you, you know, become a fan of professional wrestling? What was the match or the main event or the pay per view that you saw that caught your interest?
So, I'm not like most wrestling fans that know that exact time. And the reason for that is my way into this is not the average way. Okay. So, when I was younger, like when the Attitude Era was a thing, I did have older siblings that watched wrestling, but because I was the youngest, I like I had a really strict bedtime and all of that, so like I couldn't stay up and watch TV with people. It was kind of annoying, but we lived. And so literally I could only watch like 30 minutes of wrestling at a time, and they would channel surf between Nitro and Raw. So we kind of watched a little bit of both. So like I had a general understanding of it, like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then when I was in middle school, like I knew all the kids that did the crotch chopping and the getting in trouble for flipping the teacher off and all of that. And I was just like, oh, y'all are just dumb. So that was like my idea of wrestling back then. And then I moved out here. You'll notice a little twang in my voice. I'm not from here originally. Uh, I moved out here from North Carolina when I was 16.
Okay.
And yeah, and I made a friend, and he at one point ended up staying with me at my house. And every Monday, he would just kind of look at me and go, Stevie, it's Monday. You know what that means. And like before that was even a thing, it was a thing. And so, like, you know what that means. And because my household was of Southern hospitality, it was basically like, you have a guest over, you do what they say, essentially. So I was like, all right, I guess we're watching wrestling. And then slowly but surely, over time, we would watch it. And this was like around like between 2003 and 2007, I would like periodically watch it, but I wasn't like super invested. And then I would say like when I seriously got into it was around like 2012. Me and said best friend became roommates. And at that point, it was slowly becoming more and more a part of my life. Like we would have get togethers and have all of our friends over for like the events and stuff. We would just like hang out. And then eventually I went to my first WWE live event, which was a house show. And I will never forget it because for the first half of it, I sat like on the floor, kind of by the ramp, but towards the back. And then
Okay.
because my bestie went on the radio and won ringside tickets by cutting this like ridiculous Macho Man promo. Um, he
Oh,
won
really?
ringside, yeah, he won ringside tickets and like a meet and greet. So he's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take my little brother for the first part of it in the meet and greet, and then we're gonna find a way to do a switcheroo. I was like, dope. So that's what we did.
You have a cool best friend.
Oh yeah, he's the best. Love him. But yeah, so like we would do stuff like that all the time. But then as far as like getting involved in the scene here, um, we so same best friend and I, we we're like, it would be really cool if we could find a place to go to watch pay-per-view parties instead of just like having them at someone's house. Like, let's actually go do something. So eventually, a bunch of people had the same idea, and we found this little bar in Southeast Portland that used to do pay-per-view get-togethers. And we started going to those, and we met some other people there. Here we go, I'm a little more upright. um, so we started going to those and then meeting more wrestling fans there. They're like, oh, hey, so we're having Defy is coming through on the 15th of June, which was like the day before my birthday. So I was like, that would be really cool. And so I actually ended up meeting up with those friends and going to that. And that was my first like local show. Oh, excuse me. And then when I went to that show, the first local guy that I have ever met of all the PDX folks is Drexel. Coolest dude ever. Love that guy. I
Man, I
met
would have been
him, and then I ended up taking a photo with Brian Cage because he like their booths were next to each other. And the only reason I did not get a shirt from Drexel was because at the time he did not have my size. And so yeah. And then after that we just started going to more local shows. Like I had a friend, we would go to DOA all the time and sometimes we'd go to POW. We'd go all over the place and just go to shows and have fun. And eventually, like the first wrestling related performance that I ever did, ever, was for West Coast Wrestling Connection, WCWC, down in Salem.
I know them very
Um,
well.
yeah, so in a past slash maybe it's still a thing. I don't know. We're gonna play with that. I've been singing since I popped out the womb, basically. And one of my friends, one of the other referees, Buddy Ruth, he was like, "Hey, we need somebody to sing the anthem. Just message the face. I think it was a Facebook page. Message the Facebook page, and we'll, do whatever." I'm like, "Cool, awesome." And then they're like, "Just send a video of you singing something." I'm like, "Dope, done." And so that's when I ended up doing that. And then I came out there and I had the microphone in my hand and I'm standing there in like the little entranceway and I'm looking around and I just have this feeling like I need to be standing here. Like I don't know why I feel like this right now, but I need to be standing here with this microphone in my hand more. And it was just like a feeling I never let really leave me. And so after that, I kind of started asking around, I asked around at that particular school. Actually, there was a school in Salem at one point. But that was too far for me because I don't have a car. That's kind of hard on Lamborghinis. So, so I just ended up foregoing it, essentially. I was like, all right, this isn't a thing we can do right now. Like, way deep pocket it. We'll figure something out. And I just kept living my life, living my life, going to shows, doing the things. And, through all of that, I've, made some really good friends that eventually ended up revisiting again when I started at the school, which was really awesome. Like literally Amira used to sit like in front of me. So yeah.
Man, Amira with them chops, she is so mean, man. I'm like, jeez.
Can confirm. Tiny hands of doom. Can't
I
confirm.
would, I wouldn't want no smoke with her unless she's having a barbecue and she's offering me a plate. I'm good. I'm like, nah, man. Jeez, she's like a pit bull in that ring, man. I would not want to have to deal with her. But that's great that you actually kept up with your dream and because there's some people like, yeah, some people that are fans and they're like, yeah, I thought about it, I wanted to do it, but nah. But I always commend those who actually jump the guardrail and I really gotta find another. Somebody told me that's actually a pretty good saying because I thought it was politically correct because fans jump the guardrail to get in the ring and they do nonsense, but somebody told me that's a great way to put it. Like somebody who actually was a fan and then they got into the business to jump the guardrail. So kudos to you on jumping the guardrail and doing it the right way and
Yeah,
getting involved in the business and so on. And
absolutely. Like, I always want to do it the right way because, like, I respect the people that do it so much that I don't, this is something that they know how to do and they're passing that knowledge on to you. And that's like, holy shit. Sorry.
you can cuss on
I should have
here.
asked about cursing before we started.
No. Hey, it's fine. You can cuss. You can cuss. So here's the thing.
Hey,
I
I
think
haven't dropped any F bombs yet. We're good.
it's fine. You can drop as many as you want. I don't care. The thing is, I look at it this way. If we would have Stone Cold Steve Austin on here, we would have the Sandman on here or New Jack. I'm not gonna stop them from cussing. So hey, why not? Why not SBK? I think that's zero sarcasm. So by all means, F bomb.
Awesome.
I don't.
Dope.
Um, But yeah, that's great. And I gotta say, I am very impressed with you, Stevie, because when we messaged you, you said you're actually gonna be, you've announced that Reactivate Pro Wrestling, Timber Pro Wrestling. Y'all listen up. This is some impressive stuff. I know I don't mean any sarcasm. Like, I'm very impressed. DOA, who is making headlines, POW, and she's also guest ring announced at 5cc for their first ever women's 5 corner elimination match, and you'll be heading down to ring announce at California for the first time at a full queer. So how's it feeling right now to take your talents temporarily to California?
Honestly, like that one's a hard one for me because, like, so how it came about was really funny because I had gone down to visit my uncle that I hadn't seen since before COVID. Just like full disclosure, like mini family reunion, kind of catching up, kind of thing. Like hadn't
I'm
seen
sorry.
this man in a while,
I'm sorry to
and
hear
I,
about that. By the way.
you know, it's life. A lot worse happened during that time, but that's a whole other conversation for another time. But he, like, we were talking, like, pre-planning me coming out there, and I noticed that full queer was going to be like, I knew that promotion was a thing because, like, I know people that are in it or involved in it somehow, but like I was just looking around. I was like, it would be really cool to find a show that's going on the weekend that I'm there. And then that way, like, I can show them kind of, what I'm doing, you know? So my uncle and his partner were really cool about it. And they're like, oh my God, yeah, that would be cool. We've never gone to a wrestling show before. Like, we want to see what it's all about. And I was like, awesome, dope, let's do it. So we ended up getting tickets to Full Queer, and I was there. And then next thing I know, I get a DM, and I'm going down there now. So
That's cool. That's great that you got that opportunity, and hopefully you get to do it all over California and then Las Vegas, and hopefully you get to take your talents back home temporarily. Well, I know PDX is your home now. Hopefully you get to take it back home to North Carolina, where you can show them, hey, this is what I've been doing over the West Coast, and you show them your skills and so on too. Hopefully as not just as a ring announcer, but also as a manager as well too. I could definitely see you, kicking ass in that category as well too. What part of California?
absolutely, because like just because I'm gonna primarily manage doesn't mean that I'm not gonna get my hands dirty every once in a while.
Manager, man.
Because I may be pretty, but my fist can cash checks that my mouth. That's the difference.
You should put that on a shirt. You should
I
definitely put
should.
that on a shirt.
I really should. I also
Def-
have another one in the like because there are ideas brewing for things. There are a couple for
Oh,
when
that's
the time is appropriate.
yeah.
Merch ideas.
I got a bunch of ideas too, and I'm like, yeah, let me put it on a shirt, Um, so yeah, put it on before somebody else does, and you're like, damn, I had that idea, and then heaven forbid they actually, copyright it, then you'll definitely be feeling like, damn, if it coulda, shoulda, woulda, man, so definitely do that. If I may ask, what part you say you're from North Carolina? What part of North Carolina are you from?
Yeah, I'm from around the High Point, Greensboro area. And I say that because the actual town is this teeny tiny little town called Trinity. Nobody knows where it is. So it's easier if I say that I'm from the High Point, Greensboro area in North Carolina.
Miss Knox, you are talking to a man that was stationed in North Carolina for 2 years. I was in Jacksonville. So
Okay.
I know about small towns. I know about towns that they when it's Sunday and you can't get no liquor, you can't
Nope.
things.
Not a drop anywhere.
It's like a ghost town down there, and I like North because I always tell people like Atlanta, Georgia is the home of Southern hospitality, number one. But if I had to give a place that's close second, North Carolina. They are a close second when it comes to Southern hospitality, and I like it down there. I don't know if I'd want to move there yet because I'm a city boy. I'm here in Brooklyn, New York, but North Carolina is definitely a great state. I've actually been to Raleigh several times. They have actually one. I don't know if you've ever been to Raleigh, but there's one. They have one of my favorite. Oh man, I swear, whenever I hit RDU, which is the
Yeah,
airport,
yeah.
sure I visit this one place. It's a place called the Pit. I don't know if you heard of it, but it's a place
Oh,
called the Pit. It's on Davy Lane, and they have some of the best barbecue I've ever tasted. Some of the best pulled pork I've ever tasted,
it
and
does sound familiar. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure my sister's probably been there. My sister still lives out there, so she always is going and trying out stuff everywhere she goes.
you probably know about it. But then right next door to the Pit is a place called the Boxcar Arcade, and it's like a bar and arcade. So that's one of my new interests now is I like retro gaming and have sipping on a little on a beer or something. So yeah, that's one of my favorite areas to go to, and I highly recommend to anybody that's in Raleigh. Definitely check that out. Yeah. So in regards to, I was gonna ask this other question. So you say you had a best friend, y'all grew up together watching wrestling. Did he ever like? Did he ever decide to get involved, or was like, nope, I'll just be a fan here cheering you
There,
on?
funny you should say that. There is conversation of it. However, I don't want to spoil anyone's story for themselves, so I will just say it has been discussed.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, if he ever decides to get in the business, feel free to, we'd love to have him on, or even if he wants to come on as a fan. We have a 15 minutes of fandom segment that's for the wrestling fans. He's definitely more than welcome to be a guest on that as well too. But that's if he joins the business with you, that'd be awesome. Two of y'all best friends, y'all kicking ass together and taking names. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's
So,
the plan eventually.
so what was his reaction, if I may ask, when you told him, "Hey, I'm going to be ring announcing for this company, that company"? Was he like, "Yo, that's cool, dude"? Like,
It's been like that. It's been like that. Like anytime I talk to him about stuff, we're both like, I'm like, this is my life. I'm saying these things out loud to you. What the hell is going on? I don't know. Like, it's funny. Like we kind of like I always pride myself on this. I'm not typically the person that like marks out in front of people. I'm typically not that person. I'm typically like, oh hey, what's up? You know. But if I'm talking to my bestie about that experience, that's when I will like full on just like, oh my god, this happened. What the hell is my life about right now? And it's great.
so yeah, yeah, it definitely is. And you say also you said you're also a singer. I used to sing a little thing back in my day too. I don't know if I still got my voice, but that's pretty cool that you're a singer. Who are some of your favorite bands or singers that you like to listen to?
Oh man, it is a wide range and it comes through in phases. Like
Okay.
right now, I'm really feeling Ashnico. Like, I don't know what it is, just part of my brain. I'm really with that right now. But also, I like a lot of like lady fronted rock metal bands because that's kind of like what my vocal style is. It's like rock and rolly country type, you know? So, like, bands like Hailstorm, Evanescence, like, that's my jam. I'm also a huge
Oh,
fan of like New Year's Day and in this moment, I was like, what was the other one? I know there's another one. Um, just like all kinds of like lady fronted rock. I'm also super into like sometimes like literally my Spotify liked list is comprised of like 90s hits from back in the day, like even like 90s country and stuff because I grew up listening to country music, right? But like I didn't really listen to anything else other than country until I was like 9 years old. And then my sister was like, hey, I'm showing you MTV. And I was like, dope. And that's how that happened.
yeah. Uh, to me, like my music taste, they vary as well too. I love independent artists too that nobody really knows about as well. Like
Yeah.
for the last couple of days, there's been a woman by the name of Kelly Monroe who has had this one song called Pain Turns to Love," and I've had that song on repeat, and it's like wow. Like I even tweeted her, I was like, Kelly, your song is a bop. Like I've had it on repeat for like the last 2 3 days. She's like, thank you for listening. And yeah, I like artists like that because to me, like honestly, there was a time when somebody got signed and you could enjoy like their if they got signed like a major label, you could enjoy their music and whatnot. But like today's artists, like a lot of them, like I can't really, I don't. Maybe it's me just getting older, but I just can't find myself enjoying it. I can't relate to it.
Yeah, like I don't really listen to the radio that much. Like I only find anything that's remotely modern by chance on accident because I'm so buried in my own playlist that I don't care. Like
Understandable, understandable. I actually like to me. I'm the kind of guy that would go back in time and listen to like to me 2000s rock was some of the best like rock
yes,
I that Evanescence
absolutely
album
correct.
that Evanescence album with Bring Me Back to Life,
Yeah.
that
That's a
was a
go-to karaoke bop.
and My Immortal, I can't listen to that one too much because it's too sad for me, but yeah, My Immortal was is pretty good. And yeah, man, 2000s rock was definitely a vibe.
It was
I
a
could,
vibe.
I could definitely, man, it takes me back so many to my days like when I used to live in Florida and so on. And yeah, man, it was definitely a good time. Yeah. So with the ring announcing now, are there any other ring announcers that you would say are your inspiration, or you're just like
Yes, actually. So, some folks that are local, um, that I've kind of just asked around for guidance once I figured out I was doing this. So, um, Wayne Evans, he used to ring announce. I believe he's also a trainee at Oregon Pro. So
okay,
I know you'll probably talk to him eventually. But he used to ring announce, and that's how I first met him was at WCW like forever ago. And then, so I asked him for a few pointers before I was doing it the first time. And then another person would be the current. So for DOA, I have to say this. For DOA, as of right now, I'm more of like a temporary fill in type of situation, right? Um, for JB, who's currently the announcer there, um,
what's
he he is fantastic. He's such a good person.
you said
Like,
per JB? P
JB.
is it PER?
No, it's J and then the letter B as in boy. JB.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. He's really cool. So like it was kind of a full circle moment for me the first time that I announced there, because first he actually came to me and asked if I wanted to, because they were looking for an announcer for Queen of Thorns and they wanted somebody female presenting. So that's me. um, so of course I accepted. But before all of that, a really long time ago when I first met him, I looked at him and I was just like, just asking questions. And I was just like, so, hey, like, how did you get started doing this? And the man looks at me and tells me somebody handed me the microphone. So in that moment, he was handing me the microphone and it was just like all the feels, all the feels. So like, I love that guy. And then another one is Evie Kiyoshi that does the announcing for Prestige. That man is goated, like goated. I love his presence, like the fact that he learned Japanese to respectfully announce the Japanese competitors was great. Like
He could speak fluent Japanese.
he's not necessarily fluent, but he can like announce where they're from and stuff. It's really cool. You have to like, if you ever go to a Prestige show, you'll know, you'll see. Specifically up here in Oregon, but you'll see. Like the next Prestige show is actually Roseland 5, so watch it. That man is great. I love his voice. It's great. Those folks, as far as like local people, just because like I've talked to them, they've been very supportive of me, etc. Now, as far as like generally speaking, like WWE, NXT, AEW, all those companies, there are a few that I take inspiration from or watch very closely or just generally enjoy them. Um, Lillian Garcia, that's my inspiration. If you ever listen to how I say the word championship, there's a reason why I say it that way. The reason why I say it that way. I love her. She's great. And I don't remember, it was like a more recent interview of hers. I think it was like right before or right after she retired. And I really like her story and my story really resonate together a little bit. Like we both have a musical background, etc. So love her. Think she's great. I will admit I was a little late on the AEW train. Um, that said, same bestie. I got us tickets to AEW for like Christmas or whatever when they came through here. And Dasha, Dasha is great. I want to be Dasha when I grow up. Her personality is fantastic. Like the way that she interacts with the crowd and stuff, like in between when they're doing segments, great. Like her voice, fantastic. Like, period. She's awesome. And then the last one, NXT, Alicia Taylor, love her. Her vibe, like similar rock star vibe, love her. Her voice is fantastic. She's just bee's knees. Love her.
Yeah, we one of my favorites. Lillian Garcia is def. Oh, jeez. Every time somebody mentions Lillian Garcia, I think of the time when she had her interactions with The Rock. I don't know if you ever saw it, but there was one time where The Rock was where The Rock was like, "Lillian, you're so professional. Look at you." And then he was saying a bunch of, I mean, stuff like this wouldn't fly now with today's society, but he was like, "Lillian Garcia, would you like a piece of The Rock's strudel?" And then she's like, "Oh, more than ever." And he's like, "What is wrong with you? The Rock has a match, and you're thinking about dessert at this time? A little bit of professionalism, Lillian."
Love it. I love that. That's
I
classic.
told her about that. I told her about that. She was laughing. She's like, "Yeah, that would definitely wouldn't fly in today's world." But it was just so funny, man. I was like, wow. And then the funny thing is, 3 years later, after that, after he did that segment, he was like, The Rock knows Lillian. How you doing, honey? You still like people's strudel? And then she started cracking up. Um, I don't mean to be offensive. It's just like how
No, honestly,
like,
listen, I I do not call myself a role model for a reason. Okay. Like, I do not.
yeah, yeah. That was Lillian Garcia is definitely one of the best, and I really hope and truly hope that she gets her Hall of Fame induction real soon, and I hope.
Yeah, I was so hyped when that rumor was going around. I was like, please, Lord Jesus, yes. Please,
Yeah,
Lord.
listen. I'm gonna tell you this right now. The reason why we actually interview everybody that's so we have a thing called the Wheel of Professional Wrestling, and well, our theory is that there are many parts that make the wheel go of professional wrestling go around. Yes, the professional wrestlers are the focal point of the wheel, but at the same time, there are many parts that make that go around. One of the parts is actually ring announcing. I mean, if it wasn't for people like you, Howard Fink, the late great Howard Finkel, Justin Roberts over in AEW, Samantha Irvin over on WB SmackDown, Alicia Taylor, Dasha, etc., we would not know who we're seeing. We'd just be seeing two people, two big burly people, or two small people, or whatever size they are, fighting, wailing on each other in the ring. So you ring announcers like you that actually get us into the match, that let us know, okay, who are we seeing in the ring. So yeah, I tip my hat off to y'all. I mean, thank y'all for all that y'all do. If nobody's told y'all, because we know it's not easy. You got to make sure you get their entrances right. You got to make sure you get their names right. I don't know if you ever saw the Total Divas episode where what was her name? Oh, jeez, I forgot.
Eva Marie. And oh
Eva,
my God, yeah.
you know what I'm talking
I
about?
cringed for her. I cringed for her. I was like,
Yeah,
oh girl, no. Oh girl, no.
yeah, and they were not happy about that. They were like, "What, really? Like Ginger Mahal? Like, why would you?" So
That was
yeah, they were unhappy about that. They saw her back in the ring. I mean, they weren't aggressive, but like really, like you got all of our entrances wrong, and yeah, it's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
yeah. I had somebody get my name wrong once, so like I'm adamant about it now. So,
Yeah, I make it. I make it a thing to actually like pronounce people's names correctly the way they
me
want.
too.
I wouldn't
It's a
want to.
respect thing, you know? Like,
Yeah,
you
it's a
know, people
respect.
101.
So you have a pretty cool name, a pretty cool nickname, the baddest bud tender in the weed lands. Tell
Yeah.
us about.
So that kind of came up um just randomly. A lot of things about my entire thing that you have seen were completely random. Um like my name, for instance, my name is actually completely random. It just came together. But in the instance of the baddest bartender of the Weedlands, we were all just talking, and I think I was telling everybody about like an experience that I had at work with a customer or something, and just like, oh, I could stunner them through the glass case, you know. And I was just like, like how many pro wrestlers or how many pro wrestling trainees actually advertise the fact that they are a butt tender. So I was like, that's pretty cool. And I actually have people come in all the time and ask me about it. Because I can wear pretty much whatever I want to work. So I wear like my merch or whatever. Well, not my specific merch. I don't have merch, but like other people's merch. Um,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, Delilah
So,
doing.
but like, I'll wear somebody's merch and they'll be like, what is that? And I'll like lift it up and I'm like, oh, you mean this? They're like, oh, I thought it was a reference to this thing. I'm like, no, it's wrestling. Ha. That's my favorite thing to do to people, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I do that too. I wear wrestlers merch a lot when I go out, and people don't really question me, but yeah, I don't mind. It's a lot of the thing I like with certain wrestlers merch is that you could like I got this sweet Heather Monroe shirt. It's called Killer Bay.
Yay.
I like the design. I'm like that is I like that design. That design is so me. I gotta get one, Heather, and I got one from her. And then I saw this one here from Delilah Doom. I was like, you know what, summer's coming up. And on my last, she had a blue one and a yellow one. I'm like, yeah, my last name is Blue, but the yellow one looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna go with the yellow one. It represents summer and brightness and all that. So yeah, yeah. So
Exactly.
I do that too. Yeah. So um yeah, I just gotta say that's a pretty cool name. The baddest bud tender in Weedlands. Like I said, should definitely
Because
keep that.
I mean, it's not legal everywhere yet. So there's the Weedlands, and we're on the West Coast, so it just kind of works like that. So that's how that one came about. Now, if you want to know how Stevie Bae Knox came about, that's another story.
SBK, man. I'm telling you, really.
So funny story. We were. I had actually recently changed my name on Facebook because I came out as non-binary,
Uh,
and before I was going by Stephanie, and so I switched it to Stevie because it's neutral and it's a shorthand for my actual name. So it's like, okay, that makes sense, and it's not too jolting for people. But I had changed it to Stevie Ray because my middle name is Grace and it didn't sound right, so I just needed to pair it with something. So that's what I did. I come into class and Coach Flex looks at me and he's like, "Hey, Stevie Ray's taken." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Your gimmick name." And I'm like, "What?"
oh, Harlem Heat.
So I didn't think about it. And I was like, "Oh, okay." Because I wasn't thinking about using that as that anyways. And then he was like, "But Bay has a nice ring to it." He's like, "Stevie Bay." And I was like, "Okay, I think you're onto something there. Actually, I'm keeping that. You get credit for that." So Flex, if you're watching this, I told you you're getting so so that happened. And then I got home and I was like, it needs something on the end. Just needs something on the end. And I'm like, Knox, like knocks you out. I don't know. And then I was like, it sounds Southern, and I'm Southern, so that makes sense. And there you go. That's how it came about.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. That you.
Yeah,
I like that story. And he said Stevie Ray is taken. Yeah, because there's a Stevie Ray. Obviously Harlem Heat. You know,
yeah. So I was like, oh, I guess you're right. And I
you know what?
wasn't thinking about it because I
Now,
wasn't even trying to use it for that. So
now that I
like,
think about it, I would like to see the reaction how it would be if you met Harlem Heat and you met Stevie Ray. Like, hi, Stevie Ray. My name is Stevie Ray. You'd be like, Book would be like, tell me she did not just say that.
you're not.
Tell
Yeah.
me she did not just.
Oh, it's so funny. I was just like, we're just gonna go with that, and that's really cute. So we're sticking to it. And then when I actually wrestle, we can shorten it to SBK. You know,
I'm
so
telling you,
like,
hey, I'm down to buy some SBK merch, man. Just let me know. Like, Remy, I got the shirts. I'm like, okay, what's your PayPal? What's your Cash App? Got that, I got that Zelle too. Let me know what's up. I'll rock some some Stevie Bae Knox, some SBK merch. Yeah, man.
yeah,
I'm kind of do like I'm about to go model this shirt. I mean, when I go out somewhere, I'm definitely gonna model because I remember one guy was like, some of you guys. It was Evan Ginsberg, who was pretty much like one of the most hilarious guys. I swear up and down the guy does not like WB but he's an older guy. He grew up in like he started watching wrestling like in the 70s before the whole rock and wrestling thing. So certain things about wrestling about WWE now he does not like.
yeah,
And I remember one time he said something along the lines of some of you would actually buy merch from WWE, but you would not buy merch from some guy on the indies for $20 that's just trying to get by. So I was like, oh really? So I said, look, not only would I buy that merch, I would model it on my Instagram. And I actually did the same thing the next day when I got a wrestler's merch. I was like, yeah,
right.
look, this is such and such as merch, you know? So yeah, I'll do that. I don't mind at all. Trust me. I did it for the Tate twins when I met them. Well, the boys, as they're known as in Ring of Honor. I did
Yeah.
it for that. Yeah, I did it for several people. I like the indie scene, man. Y'all definitely bust y'all tails there, man. I got respect for what y'all do. So I love the business. I don't think I'll ever be a part of it, but I do my due diligence as a respectful fan. So
Well, I mean, in a way, what you're doing right now is being a part of it because you're talking to us and like you're helping the fans get to know us on a more intimate level in some
yeah,
way. So, like,
yeah.
yeah, in that respect, you're totally part of it.
I just feel like, look, man, y'all. When I started this, I like, look, y'all bust y'all tails, day in and day out. And let's be honest, there's some of y'all that go under the cracks. There's some that every podcaster to my fellow podcasters listening out there, this is not a knock on y'all. I respect y'all too, but there's some wrestlers that slip through the cracks, and I'm the one that sees people. I'm like, who are you? Let's talk. Oh, but I only had one match. I don't care if you had one match. We could talk about that one match.
Yeah.
You know, I told this one guest that we had. I'm not gonna call any names, but she was like, "Yeah, but I only had one match. I don't know." I'm like, "Look, listen. If we can have a second generation wrestler on our show who only had one match, why not you? Take away his, and I'm not gonna call his name either, but take away his lineage, and he's the same as you. So why not you?" And she's like, "All right, all right. I'm definitely ready to do it now." I'm like, "All right, good. Let's make it happen." Because like I said, man, there's different parts of the wheel, and I'm not. If I see a referee, I'm like, okay, let's talk. Like Bradley could say, I told Brad, I knew Bradley. I was talking to Bradley before he made he refereed his first match. I'm like, look, Brad, when you make your debut, we want to have you on our show. Lo and behold, 2 years later, we had him on.
He's one of my closest friends in the business. I love that guy so much.
Fun fact: the man who kind of started, one of the people that started our whole getting into the PNW scene was a guy by the name of Gabe Sapolsky. He was like, "Yeah, the West Coast doesn't get a lot of love." So I'm like, "Oh, really? Because y'all are out there? Okay, well, let's see. I get off from work at 9 o'clock. I get home at 10:30. It's 8 o'clock. It's what, 3 hours? You guys are 3 hours behind. So it's what,
Yeah.
11 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock over there. Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna talk some wrestling with some people over on the West Coast. And guess who I hit up? Your good friend Charlie Avell. I'm pretty sure you've heard of him.
Oh,
Charlie
yeah. Charlie's a homie. I love that guy too.
Charlie, at one time we were on a Nightmare Factory craze. We're still on a Nightmare Factory craze, and he was one of the guys that we actually interviewed. I'm like, hey Charlie, who should we have on the show? One of the names he called was Brad Lee. So yeah, and Flaming Aces and Malcolm Flex, who we still have to get on the show, and Amira and King Naja. So I'm like, yeah, okay, all right. And then I saw more, and then I saw more of y'all, you followed us, and then I saw there's a Braden Perry who actually followed us too, and I'm like, yeah, we're definitely gonna be trying to catch up with a lot of y'all.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot of us. You're going to be tracking down a lot of us. It's
the
growing and it's
sad thing,
wonderful.
the sad thing with me is that it's like so many people, so little time. Like I try, like I don't know if you read comics, but Professor X, and I always use this analogy, like Professor X goes into the room, and it's not a matter of if there's any mutants he can help, or he can save. It's a matter of who he needs to help first. You know, like I got like before you had okay, I got SBK and PDX, but damn, I got Braden Perry over there too, and then I got this person Johnny Quinn in California. But no, on the East Coast, I got Scorpio season, and it's just like
Yeah, you
so.
gotta spread the love equally. Totally.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
trust me. Sometimes I wish it was like more of me, like another, like a duplicate that could actually do the interviews at the same time, you know. But
That would be insane.
try your best, Detective West. I don't know if you watched The Flash, but like Detective West once said when he told he was once telling Barry Allen. his adopted son. He was like, Barry, you can you can't save everybody, but you can always save somebody. So I look at it that way. Like I won't be able to interview everybody, but I'll always be able to interview somebody. So
Exactly. Always.
yeah. So I gotta ask you. So you're doing your thing, for full queer. Where do you, I just got a couple more questions before we call it night.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you're doing your thing for full queer. Where do you see yourself like in 5 years as a ring announcer?
Bro, I have no idea. I'm literally winging this. Like, when I tell you all of this fell in my lap, it literally all fell in my lap.
I
So
mean,
check it out. I'll set the scene.
I should have said I worded that wrong.
um,
I should have said manager. I'm sorry. I should have said manager.
you're totally good. You're totally good. So Aaron from Reactivate, he hit me up because we had actually talked about me wanting to be involved like previously, but he didn't have anything going at the time, so he couldn't really help me in that way at that point. So once he was starting to get things running again, he literally hits me up and says, what do I gotta do to get you booked here? And that was all it took. And I've been doing it ever since. Shortly before that, though, like weird cosmic stuff. I'm hanging out with a friend, watching like I think it was SummerSlam. It was something. It was around that time, I think, or it was before that. And we're watching like a WWE show, and I'm like just sitting there, and all of a sudden I just go, making their way to the ring, and I like kind of just look over, and I'm like, did I just do something? Oh, I think I did something interesting. We'll pocket that. And yeah, ever since then. And then as far as the training, to backtrack on that, to answer your question, um, that also actually fell into my lap. Um, it was, I had gone to a show, I went to a DOA show with some friends. They just so happened to have a spare ticket, so I went with them. And we're talking, and I was like, yeah, this was right after I found out I was going to be going to Reactivate. And I was like, hey, yeah, like I'm going to be ring announcing. This is really cool. Like I'm actually doing something with this now. And the friends that I was with weren't friends that knew me like super well. Like they knew me on more of a surface level. Like they knew me through work because we used to work together. And all they really knew about me was that I tend to be the life of the party when I go places, and I really like wrestling. And I'm kind of just like out there and weird, but generally not a bad person. That's all they really know about me. So, keeping that in mind as I go on with the story, this lady looks me in the face and says, why aren't you wrestling? And I answer with, training is very expensive and I can't afford it. And she looks back at me and she's like, how much is it? Like, absolutely no hesitation whatsoever. She's just like, how much is it? And I was just like, are you serious? And so like she helped me get in for a little while. So I'm very grateful for that. Like the fact that somebody that didn't really know me that well at all was willing to invest in me because they just saw me and that's it. Like, yeah, it's good
That's
stuff.
great. That's really cool that that person does that, and it's definitely a great thing to help somebody realize their dreams and so on. And it's definitely working out for you, and you're definitely going places. And I hope you go to more places. And I hope it leads to you, if not getting signed by a big company, like at least you get to travel more. Because I always say, travel is a great thing. Getting paid, getting to travel and do what you love, that's a great thing. And that's what I wish for everybody that's a wrestler or referee or anything. Is like that they get the chance to venture out of their state, even venture out of their region, just to see how.
Absolutely.
Because I always tell people traveling is an education within itself. I've been very fortunate to go to like 18 states, so and each one has been a different vibe, and I love it. So yeah, definitely hoping for that for you as well too.
Absolutely. Like I told all my friends that I train with because that's been a conversation. I was like, bros, what if I'm really good at this and I don't realize how good at it I am and it ends up taking off and I can't do the other thing because of that. And
Yeah,
that's something that I have to think about. And at this point, sky's the limit. So
there you go. Who
whatever
knows?
happens, happens.
Maybe you'll get to be over here for WrestleMania for in Philadelphia.
That's the goal. I've literally been speaking that into existence like all week. Like, literally, it is a goal.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I'd like to see some West Coast wrestlers over here, not like the popular ones like Brian Cage. I'm talking like some of the indies, over here. Actually, if when not if I'm gonna speak positively when you make it to Philadelphia because I know you're gonna make it. There is a promotion called CCW. Definitely check them out. Capital Championship Wrestling. They are like the best, in my opinion, the best all women's promotion in the Northeast, and they've had so many great people like Shaza McKenzie, Steph Delander from NXT, and Notorious Mimi wrestles for them too. So, and actually, they have a woman by the name of Miyu Yamashita who's going to be there too. So, you know,
Nice.
I'm I'm hoping that you get a chance to see them as well too. There's a couple of there's a lot of great promotions over here on the East Coast. Definitely are. So my last question, before we shut this down,
Yeah.
is in regards to let's say there's a young woman or a young man that comes up and says, "Hey, I want to do what you're doing, the managing and the ring announcing thing." You know, what advice would you give them?
I would say really, really do your research as to what you want to do. I would also say, please, for the love of God, work out because I have not been. And it definitely has shown on more than one occasion. So definitely recommend like moving your body in some sort of way regularly before doing wrestling training is essential. Um, Also, just, believe in yourself, gamble on yourself. Don't be afraid to suck because you're going to suck. But that's okay because you have people around you that are going to help you not suck.
So for those of you that just heard it, you got some advice from a woman that's actually doing it right now and doing it well because she's been hired by several promotions to take part of their shows. So you got a little something, something from her. Anything else, you probably got to, hit her Cash App or PayPal or something. But you got a little something, something from from one of the best that's doing it over in the PNW as well too. And yeah, so I just got to say, Stevie, it was, awesome talking to you. It was a pleasure talking to you. On behalf of myself and my two co-hosts who couldn't be here tonight, Kathy Knight and Rob Ace, we'd like to say, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to, be on our show and to talk about your wrestling career and so on. Before we shut this show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to find Rainix appearances, purchase, SBK merchandise? So,
Well,
I could see the letters on the shirt, so I'm waiting for that shirt. Let me know.
well, I don't have merch right now, so that's on hold. Hold that thought. It's boiling around in the noggin. I just need to gauge a few things for at first on that. However, social media wise, I do have a Twitter. However, I suck at it, so I don't necessarily recommend following me on Twitter. Instagram, though, you can follow me at blood and blunts underscore XO. And
That's,
then on,
that's Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, you're totally good. Yeah, blood and blunts. I mean, I like spooky stuff and people beating the crap out of each other. and I like weed, so it just kind of goes together. Um, so
I don't smoke, but I'm 420 friendly.
that's all I ever ask of anybody. So, um, but yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at bloodandblunts_XO. And on Facebook, you can just find me as Stevie Bae Knox, as you see it on my display there. And those are the two places you can mainly find me.
Awesome. So y'all definitely heard. Make sure you follow this young lady. You know, she's doing great things, you know, over in the the PNW scene. And promoters, bookers, you got her information. Definitely hit her up.
Slide into my
She's doing great. You go.
DM.
Competition right there. So once again, thank you very much. And we wish you nothing but the absolute best in your career, and we look forward to seeing greatness from you as well. Best believe if I see you on TV, I'm gonna be screaming, at the top of my lungs, probably, hitting up my co, hey, turn on the TV. Look who's on TV. So we'll definitely be rooting for you. But with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting heavy. My stomach is rumbling. That means it's time for dinner and then a nap. Man, I wish Voodoo Donut was over here right now because man, oh man, I would be happy, right, smiling from ear to ear. But hey, I guess one day I'll make it there. But before I partake in those activities, if y'all want to find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Facebook under the alias Remy Blue as well. Our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're also on Facebook as a Facebook group, and we're also on Spotify, and we also have a Teespring store where we sell official Ringside Society merch. We have T-shirts, we have tank tops, we have hoodies, we have long sleeve shirts. We also have pillows for some reason. I don't know where they got that from, and we also have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. And also, all proceeds from those sales that we get go back into keeping our show afloat. They do not go back into our pockets. We assure you of that. And last but not least, we have a YouTube channel where we have cool interviews like this one, like the one we have with the Flaming Aces, Amira, King Naja, and Brad Lee, and many other great men and women, not just in the Pacific Northwest, not just on the West Coast, not just in America, but all over the world. So definitely check out our YouTube channel. All you gotta do is type in Ringside Society, and once you see that really handsome dark blue and light blue yin yang sound with the blue flames around it, that's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. And as a matter of fact, I'm feeling so happy right now. I don't know, maybe you brought some of that PNW happiness over. Maybe you actually like, I guess what they call it, you telepathically sent it over here all the way to Brooklyn, New York. But I'm feeling so happy now, so I'm gonna tell y'all right now that tomorrow we'll be having Adriana Mosley. That's right. Adriana Mosley, who is actually in the DMV area on our show. She is one mean Samoan baddie, and trust me, she will put a beating on you. So we'll be having her tomorrow. And with that being said, we just want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight live. We really and truly appreciate it. We strive on being one of the best wrestling podcasts a wrestling fan could and should listen to, and we will not stop doing that. To those of y'all that are listening later on when you get a chance, thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away. Well, like myself at the Golden Corral, we're not going anywhere for a while. And with that being said, we just want to let everybody know that we're very well and aware that everybody and their grandparents and the parents of a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we are not just any podcast. Hashtag, we are not the same. So I'm going to say it one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, one time for Oregon Pro Wrestling, and one time for the baddest bud tender in Weedland, in the Weedlands, SBK, Stevie Bae Knox. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society, and we'll be back tomorrow with another impressive guest on another impressive episode. But until then, we just want y'all to do 4 favors for us. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.